was Steve Demos once said, the hardest thing about running a business was, when he had to tell his friends that he had hired in the early days that they couldn't be there anymore. It's a common refrain, right? You hire your friend from college or whatever.
Yeah, just grab whoever you can. Yeah, a lot of brands that are saying that they're 100% organic, you go and you look at their ingredients and there's a bunch of non-organic ingredients going in there and no one's inspecting and no one knows.
Yeah, I think the inspection process has really fallen down, but
it's been gutted.
in the early days of Naturally Boulder, we would do pitches, and they were like Roman forums. People would stand in line, and then they would, wait to get their turn, come up to the microphone, pitch their thing, their product, and then the judges would do like a Roman forum thing with thumbs.
Wow, yeah, kill
it was
'em.
brutal.
It
was brutal.
Wow. Thank you for watching. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe if you've not already. Every like and subscribe is a free way to support us, expand our reach, and help plant new ideas. And we're just kind of like rolling start this, but how I know you is I moved here in 2018 and for Naturally Boulder to get involved in the scene. I went to Pitch Slam in 2018 where Marcus McCauley won with Pica Floor. And I'm like, I'm going to be friends with that guy. That guy's awesome. He's clearly a winner. I'm into his vibe. And like there's a real deep spiritual aspect to it as well.
Definitely see how you could connect with him.
Yeah, he became a really good friend of mine.
Did he really?
He was my very first podcast when I was like kind of stopping, like trying to figure this all out. Well, I quickly moved into his commercial kitchen. He invited me in, and then we became just really good friends through that. I then saw the opportunity to do a training through like Naropa Authentic Leadership for the natural product space. And you were co-facilitating that and helping to lead in that way. And I just really moved out to Boulder in 2018 after 10 years of software sales, just for this community. Yeah. And the way that I thought of it then, and wonder how you think of it now, is Boulder's kind of like the Silicon Valley of the natural products industry.
Heard that before.
So give us like the 30,000 foot view of your career, your path, what brought you into the natural product space and where you're at today.
I'll be happy to do that. So thanks for having me, by the way. Appreciate it.
It's an honor.
Yeah, we did meet actually that first year you moved here, I remember. We talked a little bit about community just now. So I did not know that I was moving to this type of community when we came here. My wife and I were married. We were living in Boston. We liked it here. We thought it was an interesting community. It seemed like a healthy space, nice place to be. We hadn't had children yet. We thought we wanted to raise kids somewhere that was a little more open, a little more Western in vibe. So
what year is this?
This was 84.
Nice.
So came here early. Early meaning like not the 70s, but not the 90s. So, we kind of got in on the front end of, we lived in a couple different places in town, finally bought a house in North Boulder and lived in that for 35 years until we sold a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice job.
Yeah. So
I'm in North Boulder, right by the Goat Trail.
Yeah, we were in Wonderland area.
Oh, beautiful.
And so we had a nice little house up there, which we stretched to buy. And, we just kind of settled in, had a couple kids, and I was working for Kinko's as a VP of marketing. Great job, wonderful little company, fun business. Did that for 12 years. That's the longest stint I think I've had in a job before.
I did not see that on your LinkedIn. What years that was before 99?
Yeah, it was 85 through 97.
Okay.
Yeah. So it might have been down a little lower, or maybe I bumped it out at this point.
I think I bumped out.
It's okay. That's fine. I was there for 12 years, VP of marketing, and a really interesting company, and I learned a lot about marketing back then. Of course, as we just discussed, it's really different now. But back then, we bought ads, we opened stores, we drove customers in on trial and all kinds of, it was a retail business. But I learned a lot about strategic thinking around marketing spending, return on marketing investment. So kind of got to be an expert on that, did some public speaking as we talked about, just post-expos, and then had 3 stints, 2 different agency stints, and then landed at Gaiam in Broomfield. And Gaiam at the time had 5 catalogs, and we were selling healthy lifestyle products. And I joined prior to the IPO, where we went into a public offering. Jirka Recife, the founder of Gaiam, believed in pyramidology and some kind of what I would say enlightened thinking around consciousness and conscious thinking and yoga. And that was an indoctrination for me. I'd lived a pretty healthy life up to that point, but I hadn't really thought about products related to supporting that lifestyle. So all of a sudden I'm working in a company with 7,000 products, everything from, solar shower heads to recycled toilet paper. And that sort of swung me off in this direction of sustainable thinking, sustainable living, healthy lifestyle. And I was allowed to do this research project with Paul Ray, who wrote a book called How 50 Million Consumers Are Changing the Way We Think, Eat, and Live. And we researched this lifestyle of health and sustainability, and coined the term LOHAS while I was there. Mm-hmm. And LOHAS today, big umbrella, takes in a lot of things. But that indoctrination there just kind of got me off on the tangent of sustainable living, sustainable thinking, recycling.
And LOHAS is?
Lifestyle of Health and Sustainability.
Okay.
It's an acronym.
Okay.
And there was a journal coined with that name, magazine. And Paul Ray's thinking was, starting to filter out into the world. And we just adopted that as our sort of our mantra with products and product selection. And that kind of helped me get connected with P3, People, Planet, Profits, and some other organizations in town. It also opened me up to a little bit more thinking about, lifestyle is a spectrum. You can enter that spectrum at any point, healthy lifestyle. So you could come in from a spiritual perspective, you could come in from a yoga, health, mind, and body perspective, you come in from a food perspective. And of course, it was obvious that there was a big food connection in Boulder. And we were shopping at stores like Alfalfa's when they first opened, and kind of marveling at the amazing selection of product. And
that was my first retailer.
Was it? Mm-hmm. Alfalfa's? Yeah. Alfalfa's 1? No, Alfalfa's 2, 2.0.
Oh, well, I mean,
because it was 2018, so it had to be 2.0.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, there was a original Alfalfa's that, existed for a number of years and then closed, sold to Wild Oats.
Okay.
Wild Oats moved into that space at Arapahoe and Broadway.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is still empty.
It's a doctor's office. That's where I go to my doctor now.
Oh, okay.
That's really weird.
Huge space.
Yeah, it's weird. So like walk in there, and there's like I used to have an office in the back of Alfalfa's, and now there's like doctor's offices. But so then 2.0 came along shortly after that by some of the original founders, and they gave it another shot and didn't work out again. But because the retail, grocery, very tough. So I think once I kind of got into that space in Boulder, it was no turning back at that point. It was bringing all that thinking of healthy living, healthy lifestyle into the food space that was here already. So I'll pause there for a minute, because then the story kind of takes a twist, right? When I start getting more involved in community, right around that time, I joined a few boards, and one of them was the E-Town board. One of them was the Dairy Center for the Arts board. I always joked that there were two groups of people I loved in town, and the creative people and the food people. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to be around those people. So that's where I gravitated to. So, got on boards that were focused on helping, organizations in both those spaces.
And where did you find your kind of edge superpower early on? It seems like you were kind of staying in marketing for a lot of this time. Yeah,
when I was doing public speaking, I was called the marketing guy. But I wanted to shed that mantle. I didn't really care for that very much. I felt like I was pretty good at it back in the dark ages, but as things progressed and the internet became more Gottel, it was just shifting everything. But I had a couple of opportunities to run a couple things, and so I started to realize that, I had good leadership skills. And when I would get on these boards, I would join the board with just complete understanding. I was just going to volunteer and do what I could do to help the organization, and then found myself in leadership roles on those boards. So that's what happened to me with Naturally Boulder. I joined in the second year as a board member, first a volunteer, then a board member, and then eventually a board chair.
Who you've been with for now over 9 years?
Naturally Boulder has been around 20 years. I had a 17-year history with Naturally Boulder in some fashion or another.
Oh, wow.
Of all 20 of those years.
Okay.
So in the early years, I was a volunteer. I helped to organize the educational programming. 20 years ago in the industry, if you started a business, like if you would come here in 2020 or 2005, you would have probably been looking for information on how to start or organize your business, thinking around your product that you were going to launch. And there wasn't a lot of places you could go nationally to get that done. You could go to expos east and west. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of information online at that point about running a business in the natural product space. So we became this magnet for early stage brands to kind of come learn from experts. And the term Silicon Valley was applied to the naturally Boulder space, I guess, if you will, Boulder, Colorado in particular, as a food mecca, health mecca, because there was this concentration of brands, and of course New Hope was here. So that made it seem
New Hope, who
they do the show they organize the shows east and west,
which are the biggest natural product shows in the country.
Exactly, yeah.
And there's a whole education arm to them.
Yeah,
as
which
well.
you've been to, I know.
As a guest, yeah.
Yeah, as a guest, yeah.
Just walking the floor and
Right.
blown away every time.
Right, and I ended up at my first Natural Products Expo West show.
Oh, I did
in
compete at
99.
Expo West once.
I remember
the
a pitch.
stage.
That's
yeah,
right.
That was really great.
Yeah, pitches became like all the rage. In the early days of Naturally Boulder, we would do pitches, and they were like Roman forums. People would stand in line. We would open the bar. Everyone would get a drink, stand in line with a beer, and then they would, wait to get their turn, come up to the microphone, pitch their thing, their product, and then the judges would do like a Roman forum thing with thumbs.
Wow, yeah, kill
It was
'em.
brutal.
Or
It was
move 'em
brutal.
on. Wow.
Now it's much more organized and more,
thoughtful.
and now there's pitches everywhere, right?
Yeah.
But again, rewind back to 20 years ago, getting information, touching in with experts in the industry was really hard to do. So I just found myself really liking community and wanting to be a part of a community. And I had lived in Boulder at that point already for 20 years. So I was like, okay, this is my home, and I've served on these boards. I've raised 2 kids here. What can I do next? And then that opportunity came along to join an organization that was, helping early stage entrepreneurs and connecting them with expertise in town and helping them make good decisions about how to spend their money, where to spend their money, and who to meet. And we often have said in this town and in the industry, I think as a sort of a general rule, that it's more like co-opetition than competition.
Yes.
So we cooperate.
Really appreciate that. In other news, because of GMOs, monocropping, and soil depletion, Americans are not getting enough nutrients. That's why in 2018, I founded BeMicro, the first freeze-dried microgreens company in the U.S. to help Americans get more natural nutrition in their diets. Microgreens are a phase in the plant's life, and they're just 14 days old and naturally the most concentrated in vitamins, minerals, and unique antioxidants. Our microgreens are all grown here in the U.S. and certified USDA organic and regenerative organic. We grow, wash, and freeze-dry them to extend their shelf life from 1 week fresh to over 1 year, allowing us to ship anywhere in the U.S. without the worry of spoilage. We have 2 flavors: broccoli, backed by over 2,000 studies on sulforaphane for its powerful detox benefits, and a blend of broccoli, radish, and red cabbage, our most powerful detox formula that we've tested, giving you the most bang for your buck. Easily sneak these into any meal: eggs, pizza, pasta, or even your kids' mac and cheese. We have whole leaf, powder, and capsule options, so you can choose the way that works best for you. Use code PLANT15 to save at BeMicro.farm.
Yeah.
Early on, my business was a tea company, and I was
remember.
communicating with many different CEOs of tea companies. Kyle Gartner,
Yeah, I remember,
early
yeah.
on, who's still a mentor of mine.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, yeah, we're doing this we want to be successful, but we want to help everybody. Like, we're spreading medicine, we're spreading good things. So help the cause.
And we wanted to talk a little bit about the industry because generally speaking, it's evolving so quickly now. For a long time, I think it was just sort of this niche, like people have these ideas they're going to change the world with tofu or whatever, and they gather together at these expos, and it's all their people, right? And it's a community, and we're fighting a war against bad food or bad health, and so we kind of like felt mission focused, know. And I just remember these transitional years where all of a sudden big food started getting involved in, healthier products. And people were saying, it's like the enemy is in our foxhole now. Like we can't tell the good guys from the bad guys all of a sudden because they're making better products all of a sudden. And now we have to change our approach to things because we're not so unique anymore. If you can buy organic products at the big supermarkets, then what about our retailers? What are we going to do? And so brands had to sort of get more sophisticated, I guess, as time went on. But as the industry evolved and naturally Boulder evolved into a community of like-minded people, cooperative engagement, connections, what you realized was that there were these levels of expertise in town that weren't found in other places. So founders who, like, the reason Silicon Valley is the way it is because people have these successful startups and exits, and then they hang around, and then they reinvest, and then they're on boards. And sometimes they're 20 years old, sometimes they're 70 years old. There's this wide range of success and failure in Silicon Valley. And that money helps early stage entrepreneurs get that next leg up, that next wave entrepreneurship. And that sort of happened here with Steve Demos at White Wave and Mo Siegel at Celestial and Mark Retzloff at Alfalfa's and Horizon and the other people in town that had these successful businesses spawned that next wave, like Justin's and microgreens and other things. So it just, we were able to say like, oh, there's all this expertise in town. They're willing to help. Maybe they would also be willing to invest or serve on boards. So we started to create opportunities for that, productive collisions, we used to call them.
What does investment look like in the natural product space today?
It's pretty hard to get. I think it's, I think, and I'll say this, and somebody watching your podcast will say, yeah, what the hell is he talking about? But 20 years ago, you could have a negative EBITDA and probably get investment. Today, you have to have a positive EBITDA, meaning you have to make money, and you have to show a growth plan. So if you're not growing and you're not making money, it's harder and harder to get money. But also, the categories are just overly crowded these days. So, why invest in another clone of gluten-free pasta when there's so many of them already out there, right? So the investment opportunities get shrunken as the categories get bigger. So people struggle to make a differentiation in their product. Why should you invest in me versus someone else? This, my thing is better, my product is better for you. A lot of that is true, but it's hard to make that case when there's already somebody out there doing, $200 million in sales and you're at $2 million. And you need $2 million to get to $5 million. And so it just gets harder and harder. And, political environments and economics all play a role in that. The cost of money these days, interest rates, the stock market, all those things play into investors, thinking when it comes to risk. It's a risky business to invest in a food brand. I think you're probably pretty aware of the fact that, it's hard to grow a business in this space. You know that. You've been trying to do it. And you've gotten to this point at this, and it takes 5 to 10 years to kind of get to some level of, at least I'm not turning back. I have this theory, 1, 3, 5, 7, 10-year theory. In year one, when you start a business, it's very exciting. Everyone tells you, this is the best stuff. This is great. You should do this. And you're out there at the farmers markets and you're getting all this positive and it's like you're energized, right? You've been there. I get it. Year 3, you're kind of like, okay, I don't think, like, what have I done here? Like, I need some money. I think I'd like to keep growing, but how do I do that? Where do I go to get that help that I need? How do I get the money that I need to get to that next level? So you start trying to bring in money. By year 3, you've probably gotten some friends and family money. You might have even found an investor, an angel investor. So you have a little debt. You're carrying some debt, It's still kind of fun, but it's feels like a business, right? Year 5, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? I owe people money. My growth has kind of slowed down. It's harder to make money now. Plus, I have this debt hanging over my head, but I need more money to grow again. So now I'm kind of stuck. Like I could just pull back right now and not go any further, or I could keep going forward. If I go forward, now I'm in year 7 and I'm like, okay, I can't turn back now because I'll never pay back the people that I owe. And I don't think I can sell my business right now. I'm doing $1.5 million in sales. What do I do? And I owe money, maybe more than that. And so now I have to keep going forward. Now I'm in year 10 and my life is completely all about this thing I did. I can't do anything else and I owe people money and no one will buy it.
That's a tough spot.
It's a really bad spot.
I'm glad I'm not in that. I'm in year 7. I'm not in that spot. I've paid off all of my debt.
That's
so
great.
I'm at, I'm clean in that way.
That's great.
But for a while I had that debt and I was like, whoa, this is heavy.
It's
and
heavy.
It's
hard.
How do I move through this? And
Right.
now I've got external pressures that don't really, feel good and are stunting my creativity.
Totally. And it's hard to go forward when you owe money.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's hard to grow a business without money, without cash in the bank, or without some cash flow.
Yep.
Right? You just can't do it.
Yeah.
And
it's the lifeblood.
Right. And the industry, especially if you go to the retail channel, you have to deal with distribution costs and marketing costs that we've touched on a little bit on our walk. And, you've got to pay broker fees. There's all kinds of...
There's a lot of hidden costs to retail.
There's a lot of costs that you don't think about. And so, these lessons that over the years that just you keep getting pounded into your head, or that we keep regurgitating as senior people in the industry, you've got to have a solid margin. You've got to be able to make money.
What kind of
margin?
margin? If you're just direct to consumer versus retail.
50 to 70% feels pretty legit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
now,
and you can do that. You could be healthy in retail with that too.
I think you can do okay. I mean, it depends if you're in glass or if you're in, if you're in a pouch, or a lot of it depends on shipping weights and there's so many factors, right?
I
that
really
influence.
lucked out on that. I had no idea. I started as fresh microgreens, not scalable, and trying to sell to Vail, living out in Vail, and they were getting all their microgreens imported in. I was like, I'm the best microgreen salesman that's ever lived. I just crushed a decade in software sales, but had like an awakening and really wanted to pursue something really healthy for myself and others, and something new.
This is what motivates a lot of people in the industry, by the way. In interviewing some senior leaders in the industry, they talk about hope and how it sort of drives the industry. There's always hope, right? Like I'm hopeful that I can get to that next level and I can produce a great product and not hurt anybody, make a little bit of money. So we used to talk a lot about, scaling a business is really hard in food, in any business really, but in food, it's really hard to scale a business. And so sometimes we would just say, like, it's okay to build a lifestyle business, be able to pay yourself, not harm anybody along the way, do good things, make some friends, and just create a lifestyle for yourself. Don't have these big aspirations you're going to sell out for tens of millions of dollars and buy an island when you're 52. Like, you don't have to do that.
I still aspire to that.
Do you?
Oh yeah, that's still in me.
That's okay. Yeah. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And so so now as you're in year 7, right? You have to start to look ahead and go like, okay, what do I need to do to make my company valuable? Which pretty much comes down to a couple things. What's my distribution? What's my margin? Can I make money? And how many customers do I have in your case, direct to consumer? But that's another thing that shifted dramatically in the last 10 years, all this online sales. So now when I talk to entrepreneurs, a lot of times early stage entrepreneurs, much earlier than you, they want to know, can I build a business, that 90% of my sales go direct to consumer? Sure. You can do that. It's still going to cost you money to do that. It's not cheap.
Well, you get paid up front.
You do.
And you're not giving anything away to anybody. Amazon will take a little bit. And then you get subscribers too. And you know who your customer is. And you can I think probably the most valuable asset that my company owns is my email list.
Absolutely.
And I send out an email and I make money.
Absolutely. Because those people who buy your product are focused on it for a particular reason in their lifestyle. Right? So they are going to be interested in other products that are very similar. So yes, it's valuable to somebody. Lists for sure, especially.
And no one could take it away. No one could deplatform me. Sometimes I put edgy content out through this podcast and I could see it on social media. I'll get 5 views. And it's like, they're just like, nope, no one's going to get to see this one. If I say something about the pharmaceuticals, they're like, nope, nobody gets to see that one.
Yeah. It's also interesting. We talk a lot about food. Food and beverage dominates about 65% of the products out there. We estimate there's 18,000 or so natural brands out there in the country.
Okay.
And about 65% of them food and bev. But there's
versus what's the other?
Personal care.
Oh, personal care. Okay.
Personal care and then vitamins and nutritional supplements. So they're big parts of the industry. As a matter of fact, the roots of the industry, and you might have even heard me say this before when I've been speaking, but the roots of the industry are in plant-based applications, like especially for medicine. So yes, plant-based was, if you think about you weren't here in the 80s or 90s, but one of the original natural grocery store, the entire inside aisles of the store were vitamins and nutritional supplements. They didn't carry a lot of packaged goods. They carried fresh produce and vitamins and nutritional supplements.
Okay.
And so did Whole Foods. They used to have 3-4 aisles of nutritional supplements and personal care products. But as packaged goods became very popular and more companies got involved in making things and putting them in jars and bags and boxes, those supplements and natural products moved to smaller and smaller aisles or to the outside of the store. So all of that canned goods and boxes and bags of things ended up in the middle of the store. So, it's been slowly denigrated or moved away as part of, a healthy lifestyle. And so when you go to Expo and you see aisles and aisles of nutritional products, supplements, vitamins, that's kind of where the roots of the industry really lie. And the farther and farther we get away from that, the harder it is to get back to something more like what you do, which is real stuff in a jar, right? So it's a weird thing because we're mechanized now more than we ever were. We're in the trenches with big food companies. Big food companies are they're pretty horrible at innovation, but great at scaling. And small food companies are really bad at scaling and pretty good at innovation. So you can see how they got together there, somewhere in the middle. And that's changed a lot of the industry because, things are more mechanized now and more processed and maybe not necessarily for the better.
Where do you see innovation in the industry today? What's exciting for you?
I'm kind of fascinated by the rise and then fall of plant-based meat.
Yeah. Speak to that.
Yeah, I've been a vegan for 18 years, and I've tried all those products, and some of them I like, and some of them I bought.
Beyond Meat,
Sure.
Impossible.
Yeah.
He had huge rises in their valuations.
Big investment, big money, and then there's lab meats, and all these things, and but they seem to have crested. And now, sort of falling off a little bit, consumer confidence. And I advise a company right now called Spare Food that I'm kind of intrigued by. Spare Food. It's kind of like upcycling. And they made a drink product. It was a prebiotic drink product from the whey waste from making yogurt.
Brilliant. I love that.
And upcycling's fabulous, right? Everything in clothes, food.
Wayward spirits,
Yeah. I mean, great stuff, right? So this is taking things that are normally discarded and just waste.
Turning it into value. I love
wonderful
that.
stuff, right?
And there's a lot of waste in the dairy. They're like, what do we do with all this whey?
Tremendous whey waste, as they say. WHEY. Anyway, then they rode that for a while, and then the drink space, boy, it's just so complicated and
It's
natural.
heavy.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's you got to ship it, and there's not a lot of room. And anyway, prebiotic, probiotic, gets bad rap, good rap. Who knows? Does it work or doesn't it work? Poppy gets a lawsuit, but they sold for $1 billion. You just these things you just see on your radar, and you go like, wow. But they moved into an area which I think is really intriguing. So they found farmers in the Northeast, where they're located in New York, and they found these farmers who about 40% or somewhere between 40 and 45% of their produce that could be or should be sold is rejected for whatever reason.
Not perfectly round, blemishes.
Just a little past its prime. Maybe we don't need turnips right now. I don't know. They found that farmers were trying to figure out what to do with their waste, right? They started buying that up and processing it into a mirepoix, like a mix that you would use to make a soup or whatever in a restaurant. And the two brothers, Adam and Jeremy, wonderful guys. Adam's a chef, and so he's very creative in the kitchen, and he's messing around one day, and he's watching this downfall of faux meats or lab meats, and says, what if I put the mirepoix in with the ground beef, a good organic ground beef, and make a patty, and now I've got 70% beef, 30% vegetables in there. Makes it juicier, tastes really good, cuts down on all the environmental factors in raising beef. Pretty interesting, and I think there's going to be a kind of a wave of that sort of innovation in upcycling and using products that normally were waste and evolving current food products.
How easy is it to scale or find the supply chain for
They've done a pretty good job. Like
That's
they
amazing.
can go to different farms all over the country, mostly on the northeast and southeast. Their beef supplier pretty easy to find.
I'm just finding these imperfect fruits and vegetables.
Yes. Yeah, I mean that's a pretty common thing. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, they show up in supermarkets sometimes, dollar stores, things like that. But it's not a concentrated effort to sort of use them in some fashion, right? So if you process them, freeze them, you can ship them all over the country.
Okay.
But they're interesting because they did the retail track for a while, just like you did for a while, and a lot of other people have done, and then shifted completely into B2B. So now they sell to commissaries like Google and universities, and it's the burger you get when you order a hamburger at Google over here in Boulder.
You get a serving of vegetables with your burger.
And you get 70%, 30% less beef, so it's healthier.
Yeah.
There's an environmental, they've done some calculation on environmental savings and stuff. So
That's very innovative.
I'm excited about that. That's pretty cool.
Upcycling
is very cool.
That's very cool. Love hearing that.
Really cool stuff.
How did you get connected with them? How did?
I met Jeremy years ago here in Boulder. We did some project work together. I was doing some consulting, and we were on a couple projects together and just liked him. And he's a super interesting guy. He worked for Patagonia for a while in their provisions area, and so.
Yeah, another company. I think they were one of the founders of the regenerative organic
Absolutely.
Certification.
They're doing the ROC.
Which I'm now.
Are you a member of ROC?
Member certified. Yeah.
Can you say just a little bit about that for me? So it's on your packaging now?
Yeah, you have to be USDA organic first to qualify for regenerative or organic.
Right.
And it's a very fast growing certification. Just 2 years ago, there was maybe 100, 200. Now I think there's almost 2,000 brands that are certified. Very fast growing.
Yeah.
And it's just a higher level of standard. Where they're really looking at the pay of the people, the impact on the land, and any animals that are involved as well. So
it's full circle thinking for sure. So do you feel that your consumers understand it? Do you explain it on your website?
It's brand new. Yeah, we explain it. I put a lot of education out about it.
Yeah.
But it's a very new certification, and those that know just search for the ROC brands.
Yeah, so I've been around long enough, when organic, the organic standard came in, to know how difficult it was to educate consumers about the organic seal.
What are some of the misconceptions around the USDA organic seal? Like, what is it? What isn't it?
How can they possibly inspect all this stuff and approve it? And especially today, the USDA has been pretty much dismantled, which is...
I had Brandon Hernandez here on Monday, and he's like, a lot of brands that are saying that they're 100% organic. You go and you look at their ingredients, and there's a bunch of non-organic ingredients going in there, and no one's inspecting, and no one knows.
Yeah, I think the inspection process has really fallen down, but...
it's been gutted.
But, people ask me sometimes, like, well, how can you trust that, and I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I have to believe in something.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to believe.
Know the farmer, know the brand.
So the closer you can buy to home, the better, right? Yeah. So you see the source. But I think there were at one point 22 different bugs you could put on a package. Everything from halal certified, kosher certified, organic certified, shade grown, fair trade, and those are all certification agencies aside from the USDA certification that you can pay to be a part of. Yes. And I'm assuming you pay to be a part of ROC.
Not very much, $500 a year.
Yes,
but
not a lot.
There's a big checklist that they're not going to let you through it, and
it's a little bit like B Corp.
Yes.
another certifying
They're not
agency.
just going
Right?
to give it to you if you give them the money.
Right.
They're very detailed on every
Right.
detail on it.
Right. And so like the B Corp application is very complicated, very, like you have to go through that process and then you get approved, right, and everything. But still, do consumers really know what B Corp is? I mean, probably not. What are they looking for today? Value, quality, ease, and they shop in multiple locations, somewhere between 3 and 5 stores and online. And again, how do you build anything online? I'm not saying that about your stuff, but
Make a lot of videos.
yeah,
People watch videos. That's where it's
build
at.
credibility, right? And influencers that can help you, verify, your truth.
How do you make the customer feel something? Because that's where it seems like the magic. If people are touched, moved, and inspired by the brand, by the story, the mission, that seems like the secret sauce that I'm circling.
Yeah. I mean, I would 10 years ago, I would have said you have to be in front of them and be authentic and be who you are. And that might mean, doing the sales calls yourself to a big retailer, or in your case now you're doing the videos. They weren't that popular 10 years ago, influencers that came around. They were paid spokespeople, basically, which was not uncommon back in the day of advertising on television. You had paid spokespeople.
Yeah.
I remember meeting Billy Mays, the spokesperson, when I was at Guyam.
Billy May, what did he do again?
He was the pitch guy for Liquid Gold or Gold. What was that?
Okay. Did he pass away?
Yeah, he did.
A plane act something?
Yeah, he died. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was an incredible pitch man.
Yes.
That was his lifestyle. He was a pitch man. But I think, building a brand, first of all, trust is earned, right? And so credibility is important. Making a good product, super important. Good, clean, straightforward, easy to understand, readable label, no weird claims, base claims that are verifiable. But yeah, you got to have a presence of some sort out there in the digital space now, or I don't know how people know about you. And, there's so many products on Amazon. I don't think just getting on Amazon is the answer.
No.
Or Shopify or whatever.
I'm on Shopify and Amazon.
Other grocery sites.
People will kind of just stumble across you, but people
Yeah.
got to really have seen you several times.
Right.
And they're like, okay, now
And I think most of us, even the basic consumer, understands there's paid search result right now, so they get it when they pop something in. Those first listings and everything down the side is all paid to be there, right?
Yeah.
So they started to scroll a little bit more. Back in the day at Guy, when we first started selling online, we would try to get people on the front page to not scroll any further. So we would try to get 3 listings in a row of our stuff, our yoga mat or whatever. And we were just then figuring out they weren't algorithms at the time in particular, but they were ways that people searched and then what they clicked on. And we had that metric. We could understand that. But we didn't have paid results, and we just did keyword function. So
and keywords are still SEO.
keywords
That's still
are
a big part of it.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, I think a brand is about an emotional connection. So yes, you have to build some sort of emotional connection to them, and also I think people, like in your case, micronutrients, like it's not something people feel that they can't live without, but at the same time, maybe once they get into that lifestyle and they realize it's very beneficial, then they start understanding, learning, reading about it. So that's why building content, I think, is so important today, for sure. Absolutely. I'm still a big community guy. I mean, I like interaction, personal interaction, meeting people, talking to people, engaging with people, connecting people. Yeah. So I spend a lot of time still doing that.
And I love that. I love Naturally Boulder for that.
Yeah.
And it's hard to scale through a farmer's market.
Oh,
I've done
for sure.
hundreds of farmers markets.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's even when how do you bridge the gap between the offline farmers market sale to then get them onto the website, the online, and you capture their email and then you put them through a funnel, and what percent of them then end up converting again?
Yeah.
I just think it's.
Are you doing QR coding at at the markets and stuff?
We do,
were you?
yep,
Yeah.
in different, and we incentivize in different types of ways, and we have hundreds of reviews that on Google and across platforms for incentivizing people with QR codes. That's been very effective for me. The farmers markets, now I'm just a guest. I used to be full-time, 2-3 markets a week, and now just guests kind of dropping in. I want to try out this kind of communicating or create content with it, or it's just a tremendous amount of work.
Yes.
And I highly recommend it to those just starting out, so that, because you can iterate so quickly. Every market you can have new packaging, a new pitch, a new.
Yeah, you can. I mean, part of the danger of that, especially early stage business, is like most of the feedback is positive.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to stand there and go, this is terrible. I would never buy this.
Yeah.
They're just going to walk away.
Yep.
Right? So you're going to hear a lot of positive reinforcement.
Same at trade shows.
Yeah.
Everyone's a yes, you got it. Everyone's all fired up.
They can be
here's
really,
my number, and then it's
right. There can be a lot of that. Fake love, as I like to call it.
okay.
But when you're building a business and you want to understand what consumers are really thinking about you and your business, you have to survey them. You have to talk to them. You have to ask them questions directly, and you have to give them opportunities to say, I don't like that, or this is not a good idea, or I can't read that label. Or
we do post-purchase surveys now, and random surveys.
That's
and
great.
That's very insightful.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of survey companies out there, and you can buy data.
Yes.
Data. A lot of people start businesses. They're passionate about what their product, what they've created, and they're not always great at finance. They might have a skill set in sales, but they might be terrible at operations.
That was me.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by BeMicro, organic freeze-dried microgreens for easy, everyday nutrition. Sprinkle them on any meal and enjoy the benefits. Shop now at BeMicro.farm and use PLANT15 to save 15% off your next order. I'm much more of a visionary
You're a sales
guy.
Yeah.
And the operations, like building the boat and building the machine, had to hire that in and surround myself in mentors that were strong in that way. And find them in books.
Yeah. And so, we have danced around this idea of community and engagement. And I guess, what I would say is, there's so much disassociation with each other these days because of digital devices and things that can take our attention away from in real life people.
Yeah, the human-to-human connection is more disconnected now.
Right. So, as a result, you have to make extra effort to get out and engage with a community of like-minded individuals, or even not like-minded individuals, to engage with the world in some way.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for you, playing pickleball or having coffee with retired old guys, or Romeos, as I like to say, retired old men eating out. You've got to find a way to do that and not just be isolated. And it expands your thinking and engages you in a different way than staying home or just working your business 24/7 and not engaging.
And it allows you to get feedback, allow the universe to speak back to you. If you're just in your own echo chamber, it's where you're going to go.
Yeah, as my friend Sylvia Tawes used to say, breathing your own exhaust. So, you can do that for a long time. Eventually, I think you suffocate if you do that too much.
I think so. I think one of the most rewarding parts of this journey for me has been the community and the friends that I've met along the way.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It's good to hear. And I think since Naturally Boulder expanded into this network, and then now it's the Naturally Network, and now there's Naturally Colorado, which is the evolution of this community. It's happened. There were food groups all across the country that weren't unified, or they were isolated in certain places, right? So, it's nice to kind of put a shell around that and say, okay, this is the way you go forward, and here's how you deliver programming. How you do that, how you create a sustainable model, all that stuff. I've kind of moved away from that just because I don't do it every day anymore, and I miss the community a little bit in Boulder. I did move to Longmont. It's only 10 miles away, literally 12 minutes from where I used to live. But and I still engage with Boulder, but don't have that necessarily that close connection with the Boulder community that I used to have. And
You're out of the bubble a little bit.
a little bit. And I do go to some events still, and I do go to trade shows still. But yeah, it's hard. I'm starting to age out a little bit, and you start to lose that connection. So I have to make a really conscious effort to say yes when Steven calls and says, "Will you be on my podcast?"
Thank you. And it was an honor for you to say yes and
Oh,
to
I
sit with you
appreciate
here
that.
and to get your wisdom.
It sounds like you've talked to some great people, and
Yes.
you're learning a lot.
Yeah.
And what's a key takeaway for you from some of these interviews?
I would say that this gift of communicating in person is becoming more and more rare.
Yeah.
And there was concern early on that I'm like, man, is the wave of AI just going to wipe out this podcasting and this human to human? But I think as the pendulum swings so far into AI and AI created content, it's going to swing back into this human and human interaction.
Yeah.
That we all want to help each other.
Yeah.
And what
We kind of
else?
need to right
Yeah,
now.
we kind of need to and band together. What else has been a takeaway? That there's so much more magic in having a podcast than just creating content. Like, this is really a gift. My kind of North Star with this is like, how can I give a gift to the guest? Because I'm going to do a really good job for the guest, and then I'm going to create really good content about it. I'm going to really help the guest to shine. And through the guest shining, then my brand will hopefully
Sure.
be lifted up, and
Sure.
and it's been an incredible path of self-discovery as well. Like, I get to sit across from from some real wisdom. You know, you've been in the game for a really long time. You've seen a lot, and just to get to feel the gap between where I'm at and where you're at, and the ways that you think about things and carry yourself and communicate. It's been. I think it'd be really hard to have these conversations for more than just a few minutes with anybody if it was outside of this platform.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then I get to really deepen the connections with people too.
Good point.
And so from the entrepreneurial standpoint, I'm like, oh, most of the people after a podcast, like, there's some type of thread of like, maybe we could do some kind of business together. Maybe we could trade. Now we're on each other's mind. Like, how can I refer business to you? How could we work together, collaborate? I know you much better. And through me asking thoughtful questions, I find it's a lot more important to be interested than interesting.
Yeah. I love that you're mining the Boulder community for these interviews. If there's anything I can do to help you connect with someone you're interested in talking with, just let me know, because that's one of my magic skills is connections.
Yeah, you're very strong in that way. I love watching you work a room at a Naturally Boulder event. It's like,
that's what my wife says, work a room.
Yeah, you're in many ways, when you show up, like, you're the mayor. Like, oh, nice.
Yeah, people used to call me that, the mayor of Wellville.
Yeah.
Or at least John Terra, the chamber president, used to call me that, the mayor of Wellville. I think that I don't know. I just genuinely like people and feel compelled to help them when they have a challenge in front of them, or they just need some help with a connection. And they're always really appreciative, right? And I say, well, I had the easy part. You know, introducing you was the easy part. Yeah. You know, your job now is to figure out how to make that connection work for you. Yeah. But I do get asked a lot, and I still get asked a lot. Basically 3 questions, and they've been the same 3 questions for almost 30 years. Can you help me find money? Can you help me increase my distribution? Can you help me find a co-manufacturer? So I'm like, okay, I have to have resources for all 3 of those things, because I get asked it a lot. Yeah. And it's okay. I get it. Like, you know, you're building a business, and these are things that if you can streamline to a result, it'll help you a lot in the long run.
Yeah, speak to distribution today. Yeah. How are you helping people? Where do you think there's the opportunity? Where would you not put resource and energy, and where would you?
I think a few years ago I started kind of like bumping around the idea of omni-channel strategies, right? Where
selling everywhere.
But beyond that, like, just you look at the airport gift shops or whatever, right? They're an outlet, right? But a hotel commissary, where you can go down and you can swipe a card and get a Justin's peanut butter pack and a salad to take to your room or whatever. I think you have to understand who your customer is and then put your products where they are. So if you have a CBD salve, for instance, and
which is going away soon.
Yeah, you know. let's pick something else, a nutritional supplement of some sort, and you want to sell to people who are open to those. Yes, why not work with chiropractic offices or yoga studios or, put your stuff where your people are. So that's had to shift my mentality a little bit around omni-channel thinking. It's not just identifying potential outlets. It's saying, who are the people that want microgreens? Where do they hang out? What kind of lifestyle are they focused on? What are they looking for in a product like this? And where do they go to get it? Or can I hit them unexpectedly somewhere where they didn't think they were going to see it? So I think that's really important. Like I see farmers markets as part of that. So some people are there to discover new things, right? People travel. They don't want to go out to eat restaurants and eat crappy food. They're like, oh, there's a healthy option here in the hotel, or I'm at my chiropractor's office or my whatever office, my skincare office, and they offered me this really cool sample of a skin cream.
Of tallow. That's what I use.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you go. Like, where are you in your day, and are you bumping into these things that are of interest to you or that you can learn about? I like it when brands like put stuff where I'm not expected to see them. On an airplane. Getting a product all of a sudden on an airplane.
Southwest has been doing that a lot.
They've been doing interesting stuff, right? And if we both know our Boulder Organic Foods soup works in town here, and their soup is on Delta Airlines. I mean, there's some cool ways to get the stuff out there, and and get good stuff into the hands of people when they're not expecting it, right? It's really nice. So I like this omni-channel thinking, but less about the channel and more about the consumer. Where is the consumer? What are they doing? And can you surprise them with your stuff in a place they weren't expecting it?
Yeah. What about for the online?
Yeah, I'm not a great guy to ask about online because I don't buy a lot of things online. I will research online, and I think that's not uncommon, I don't think. But I don't often click the buy button.
A lot of people will research us on Amazon and make sure that, hey, these are good reviews.
Sure.
And then purchase on our website. And that's how I'd prefer it.
Stephen, I know you think I'm a very positive, wonderful guy, right? But I'm also a real positive cynic. Like, I'm very cynical. So I read reviews and I go, is Jane S. really a customer?
Yeah, that was my mom.
Yeah. So I'm just, I'm a cynical guy, but I use the internet for research and for what I think it's good for. The shopping sites, like, I just don't do Amazon at all. I mean, I do. It ends up on my laptop sometimes because I'm sourcing a product and it pops up through Amazon. But I would 90% of the time prefer to get in my car and go to a local store and buy what I'm looking for if I can find it. Therein lies the problem. Sometimes you just can't find stuff anymore. So that's really frustrating to me because I don't want to be that guy that walks into a store and says, where is my thing that I normally buy? Oh, you can only get it online now. I just don't look. I play music. I like to buy musical instruments from local stores. I try not to buy from big box places. I buy recycled clothes. I don't.
I do too. This jacket was,
right on, dude.
recycled off of Facebook Marketplace.
There you go.
But you get killer deals. This is like a $250 jacket I got for $35.
There you go.
And just take it to the dry cleaner and you're back in business.
Right. I mean, I just saw a story on the New York Times homepage today. They bought a pallet of returned goods from Amazon. And there was a story on NPR recently about the warehouses where all this stuff comes back. They don't reshelve it. They don't resell it.
They sell it by the pallet.
What the hell? That's insane.
That is insane.
So we're kind of at a place, I think, in our society where we just have to kind of get a little more enlightened about buying things, how we buy them, how we learn about them, and where we get them from. So I like that you're direct to consumer because 90% of what you do is educating people and then replenishing them monthly with their, auto ship or whatever. And auto ship's been around for 25 years now. We did it at Guyam. I think it's great. I think also understanding that consumer and saying, hey, if I were going to put microgreens somewhere near you in a store, where would it be? Would it be in your yoga studio? Would it be in your chiropractor's office? Would it be somewhere else that you go every day, like your coffee shop that I'm not thinking about? Those are the kind of things I'm kind of thinking are really headed our way. But online, I'm a cynic, and I think I'm a little old, and I have kids in their 30s, and they buy a lot of stuff online, and they grew up in pretty conscious household, so it's just so convenient.
It's so convenient.
It's unbelievable how convenient it is.
It's free shipping. It's a lower cost. You can return it easily.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
The boxes, the back and forth.
Yeah.
You just
and it's a dopamine hit too.
Oh, it is. You go into Whole Foods and there's a line of people returning boxes to the Amazon counter, and I walk by them all the time, and I think, oh, I just don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
I'd rather buy something local and take it back if I don't want it. Hopefully they'll take it back.
Yeah, I mean, I've just got an e-bike, and I'm
for
searching for, and I just take that everywhere.
Yeah,
I'm
right
barely,
on.
I took it here.
Yeah.
I just take the e-bike everywhere. Well, I want to buy right now a new lock.
Yeah.
Well, you go to the bike shop, and the bike shop, it's $100, and they got one option. You go on eBay, and it's $45, and you got 50 options.
Exactly.
It's like,
Okay,
how do I
yeah.
get the most value?
Right. Yeah. So again, price value is always in consumers' minds, right? And I think the pandemic taught us a lot of things about scarcity and about supply chains and at retail and a lot of things, right? And also about unfair wages and workers and all kinds of things. I hope we've learned those lessons and we carry them forward. But, I don't know that the pendulum is going to swing too far away from online buying, but I hope it will swing back towards, as you said earlier, more community, more connection.
It's certainly there at the farmers market. I go to the farmers market here in
Yeah.
Boulder every Saturday.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not a vendor, and that is like the heartbeat, I feel, of our community right now.
Yeah.
And I love buying at the farmers market.
I do
And it
too.
can be more expensive.
And I've been going to the Longmont Farmers Market, and it's really interesting. It's different, different vendors, more open. I don't know. Boulder's just gotten so crowded and so busy. It just,
Very.
I mean, maybe it's just my stage in life. I just I don't want to deal with driving around 5 blocks to find a parking place.
It's no big deal when you're on a bike, though.
That's
the
true.
beautiful thing about
That's true.
Boulder is, and probably Longmont as well, it's very bike accessible.
Yeah, and for many, many years, I rode a motor scooter around town, a 50cc.
Is that
two cycles, gas, oil engine. But I parked it at bike racks, and that's what I commuted to work on for years through the
and that's
neighborhoods.
the limit to where you don't need a
If you can
special
put your
license?
feet through the middle, it's considered a motorized bike.
Okay.
So you
And
can
if it's
ride on
50cc.
bike paths, and you can
Okay.
ride in the bike
You
lane.
can. Oh yeah, my e-bike feels like a hack because I can go on the sidewalks. and
Right, it's
I
kinda
can
weird.
Go anywhere.
Yeah, I have an e-bike, and it'll go 25 miles an hour, and I'm
Yeah.
like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, that's
a little
plenty
weird.
fast in some spots. Yeah.
That's weird. But again, ride a bike, feel like you're in a community.
Yeah.
Park your bike in front of a coffee shop and go in and see 5 people you know, feel like you're in a community. I think we all like that. We all miss that. We just don't know how to keep it going. It's hard. It's a hard thing.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone that doesn't feel connected into their community or is looking for community?
I think one thing to do is to volunteer. I don't care what it is. It could be volunteering repairing bikes for kids. A place over on Walnut that repairs. I took a bike there, and they worked on it, and they donate them.
Yeah. Food banks and animal shelters.
Food
that's where I
banks,
spend
anything
most of my-
anything, human services, anything that is for you now.
It's surprising how much you get out of
You do.
volunteering.
If you approach things with a give first mentality, you often end up getting a lot more than you give.
Yeah.
So when I retired from full-time work as the executive director at Naturally Boulder 2.5 years ago now, I started to lean into an organization I've been involved in for 10 years called Bridge Entrepreneurs Network. And Bridge, what it does is it brings young entrepreneurs. You're probably a candidate still, but a little past that, super early stage. But you're going through evolutionary stages in your business, right? And Bridge brings together at no cost a group of advisors around a table. I've been leaning into that a little bit more this year. It's really been wonderful. Just total give first. All the board work I've done has been total give first, not unpaid. Just
When you're working with these early stage startups, what are some of the things that come up the most? I heard you say money, distribution. What type of questions are people asking? Where are people maybe finding success, and where are they kind of stumbling?
Some of these businesses in the network are struggling with growth challenges, right? So they're either growing and they don't know how to evolve their leadership style or jettison people who are. I remember Most Siegel once said, or it was Steve Demos once said, the hardest thing about running a business was, when he had to tell his friends that he had hired in the early days that they couldn't be there anymore. Yeah. It's a common refrain, right? You hire your friend from college or whatever.
Yeah, just grab whoever you can.
Right, and so the tendency in this industry is because we're passion forward, right? So it's to find people that you would like to go have a beer with and mountain bike ride with after work, or go to yoga during the day with. So you hire your friends. You hire people, and you figure you can teach them to do anything, right? Yeah. But as you scale a business, the hardest thing is as you start to grow, it's like, okay, now I need somebody who really does understand B2B channel sales, and I don't have that. And the guy I hired for sales or gal I hired doesn't know how to do that. Yeah. So now I have to remove them and bring somebody else in who's had 10 years of experience doing that. That's a hard thing for growth challenge companies. I think just managing their own expectations about what they need to know in order to be successful is a real, it comes up a lot. Like they have insecurities about, I'm not real great with finance, so what do I need to do to get my act together with that? Or I'm just not an operations person. How do I find that person? What should I look for? I was in a session a couple months ago with Ben and Bridge Entrepreneurs Network, and the founder was at a stage in his company where he was wanting to just become a member of the board and not be the CEO anymore, because he decided he wanted to run for public office. So he wanted to go into politics. But he didn't want to, leave the company. He wanted to kind of get away from the operating role, right? So sometimes founders get to a place where, and you might be approaching that yourself someday, where it's like, I don't want to be the operating guy. I don't want to make all the decisions. I want to be the founder or the chair of the board or whatever, but I don't want to have the day-to-day responsibility. And there are people who are really good at that. And so, you got it. Yeah. And so how do you find them? What do you look for in that? There's a whole, human resource component to building a business that they're not experts in by any means. So.
Does the book Rocket Fuel ever come up? As part of the EOS framework?
EOS is amazing. I just met with a good friend of mine who's a great EOS implementer, Sue Freck, and she's shared a lot of stories with me about some of the customers she works with, some of her clients, as she calls them. But yeah, frameworks are great. Having a plan, having a strategy for each of those strategic areas of business. Absolutely. Yeah. Those all are...
SOPing your business as well, so you can easily give tasks over to other people.
Absolutely.
All things I've had to learn along the way.
Absolutely. See, and you're a quick learner.
I'm motivated.
And you didn't come into it with those skills, right? Yeah. Like you had a sales skill set, which is really comes in handy. Yeah. Not only for this work you're doing now, but in building a business, right? But a lot of people aren't good at sales. They're terrible at it. They'd rather...
They're scared of it.
That's right. It's really...
But I think the most opportunity for growth is on the other side of that fear. I'm looking for the things that I'm scared of. I'm scared,
of course,
just putting myself out here in the way that I am with this podcast. I'm like, oh, this is fearful, until it's not. Until it's like a superpower. And I'm like, whoa, on the other side of that fear is just like growth and love.
Yeah, as my friend Julian Valley says, this is your zone of genius. You're finding your zone of genius now. I can't take credit for that term. But yeah, once you figure out, oh, I'm actually kind of good at that. Now I want to use that in some way. It's a power. It's a superpower, as you said. So but again, you can. I used to do a skills assessment of myself every 10 years or so. Just
through what?
Just sit down and write out all the strategic areas of business and give myself a grade.
Oh, okay.
Just like there's multiple parts to say understanding finance, right? I'm not a CPA, but do I understand how taxes work? Sure. I'm not a CFO. I don't prepare financial statements, but can I read them? Yes. Do I understand what they mean? Yes. So I would grade myself, and then I would say, oh, and I remember being early in my career going like, I don't really understand PR very well.
This podcast is brought to you by BeMicro, organic freeze-dried microgreens for easy, everyday nutrition. Sprinkle them on any meal and enjoy the benefits. Shop now at BeMicro.farm and use PLANT15 to save 15% off your next order.
I don't know what it is, what it does, why it benefits a business, so I hired a really good PR consultant, and she taught me how to do PR and do public speaking and do interviews and answer questions and how to prepare for those types of interview situations. And so it was a skill area that I would give myself a C in, and now I would give myself an A. Well, maybe not right now, but
you're doing great. You're doing great. This is an A for me. I think back to just those early entrepreneurs, and if I were to give myself advice early on, I would love to hear the advice you'd give yourself early on too, is to know what type of entrepreneur that I am. Back to that book, Rocket Fuel, it shares that there's two types of entrepreneurs. There's the visionary, more of the passionate founder, outward facing, likes to be the face of the brand, like the salesperson. That's me. And you could take a test, and I was like a 86 out of 100. And then there's the integrator, more traditionally like a COO, Chief Operating Officer, the person that builds the structures and processes and is more internally focusing and likes to be behind the scenes and support the person that's out. So I thought that most entrepreneurs were both of those things. But the most successful companies, say like Apple, there's Steve Jobs, who's the visionary, and then there's Steve Wozniak, who's the integrator that's helping to build it. And that's the same with Disney and Ford Motors and on and on. There's always a visionary and an integrator. And when those two come together, that's the rocket fuel. So knowing that you don't have to do it all yourself, find your other...
I think that's the key point right there.
And the book helps you to find that. To first identify yourself, identify the other, and then how to work with them.
Yeah. What I would say to my younger self is don't be afraid to be an entrepreneur, to try something, right? Because the later you get in life, life stages come into play, right? You take less risk when you have a family than when you don't have a family. You take less risk when you're married than when you're not married. You take less risk when you start looking at retirement and worrying about eating into that. But I've met entrepreneurs in their 60s who just decided they were going to start a company, and they had both worked in other things, doing other stuff, and had stashed their money into 401ks and decided they were going to cash some of those out and start a business. I like working with all stages of entrepreneurs, but younger people just seem to have, if they've got a little fire in their belly, like they don't come from money, they got to go make something happen. They got a lot of energy. They're usually on top of technologies and, like the lifestyle trends and things. Older people, a little more set in their ways, but they have some wisdom, and they're not going to do stupid things, but they move slower. So a lot of times I meet entrepreneurs, they're just kind of going like, in 2027, we hope to be, and I'm like, whoa. Like you just got to move a little quicker. You just got to speed it up a little bit because things aren't slow anymore. They're fast.
Speaking to that, AI is now coming into play more and more. How are your conversations around that with these startup founders that you're advising? What do you see?
It just doesn't come up very much. I think it comes up more with the creative people I know or with the agency people I know. But I also have seen them turn a corner recently and start using it for it's a tool. For a lot of them, it's a tool to write a press release or to create some marketing materials. I play in a few bands, and a trumpet player in one of our bands, we needed to redo our website, and he just fed all this stuff into AI, and it produced a website for us. Even my bio, it's so amazing. Saved hours and hours of time of somebody sitting there typing out all this stuff about the band. And then you're in an editing mode, so you still have to know what you're...
It's much easier to edit than to create.
Exactly.
And what's that doing to our creativity as a creative? What do you think?
I think it's a little dangerous, but but again, I see it as a tool. So maybe in the right hands, it's okay. In the
Finding
wrong
the
hands,
balance and the line within yourself.
yeah, like all this crap online, like I just don't pay much attention to it, and I don't try to figure out if it's real or fake because most of it is fake, and I don't like. I just again the cynic comes out of me. I'm like, okay, that's probably AI, and why am I wasting my time looking at that? Whereas, if there's truly something, someone has created something, a presentation, for instance, and they ask me to review it, and they say 80% created by AI, the rest is me editing it and making sure it's accurate. I'm good with that. I think that's cool. Well, why not? I mean, it's efficiency. So why not?
My friends with bigger companies, with big staffs, they'll say that AI is having the biggest impact in their marketing department.
Probably. That would make sense to me because they can get stuff done really fast.
Really fast.
Yeah.
And that seems where it's having the
Again, a
biggest.
tool like, again, I'm old enough to remember my days cutting and pasting ads together with glue and a ruler. High-res photocopying it and sending it out to newspapers in an envelope across the country. And then they would clip it out and paste it into their thing.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden I had an ad book and I could cut things out of there and paste them. And then all of a sudden I had a computer on my desk from Apple that I could design an ad and hit a print key and hit a high-res output, and use that as the ad and then change it and make it different for cities. And then all of a sudden there's clip art online. And then so it continues to evolve, right? I think it's an evolution of things, and it's really a lot harder to accept as you get older. Just keep on top of. That's the only thing. You just got I'm kind of glad I'm not working in a full-time job right now, dealing with those changes so fast. But
What do you think is the best money a startup founder can spend?
right now, I'm gonna just challenge the question just a little bit,
Sure.
because most of them don't have any money.
Say they
Right.
just have a little bit of money.
A
Are
little
they
bit of
spending it
money?
on marketing? Are they spending it on that co-founder? Are they
No,
spending it on the product?
I
the
think they're spending
brand?
it on. I think they're spending it on making sure that what they are creating is absolutely the best that it can be. So if that means investing in recipe formulation or machinery and equipment to make the best product they can make, because if they don't have that, they don't have anything, right? Next to that, sort of, if you're DIY mode and you can make that happen, like you can focus your energy on creating a good thing, like I think you did, then it's brand. Build, putting that together so that it presents itself well. And a lot of people think it as packaging, but it goes beyond that. It's not, marketing is not branding, and branding is not marketing. So it's marketing today is more like subservient to sales, like it supports sales, right? Like you have to have good promotional stuff going on, right? But branding is building an emotional connection to humans and consumers. And so, yes, putting the branding together, meaning communicating well on your package and on your website and on your platforms, what exactly your product is and how it works and why they should buy it.
Who's a good example of that? Whose branding do you like?
I mean, Patagonia is pretty amazing. You mentioned them earlier.
Yeah, a bunch of positive terms come to mind right away.
Right away, a positive association. I really, really like Dr. Bronner's and their
Another part of the co-founder of the
Of
ROC.
ROC, and-
Those two came together along with Rodale.
And these are major legacy companies within the industry, right? I think
Very interesting founders.
Yeah, I think Lundberg is a really great company, Lundberg Farms. Very true to mission, very good at communicating their mission, very good at saying what they do and why they do it, and making great products. So yeah, I see some really nice big national brands out there doing a great job with that. There's some great companies locally, I think, that hit the mark pretty well. And again, it doesn't cost a lot of money to communicate effectively, communicate your message. You've got platforms now. You're creating these podcasts. They don't cost you anything, I'm assuming.
Each podcast costs several $100s, actually.
Several hundred.
Yeah, but I guess that's
In
small.
terms of a marketing spend,
That's-
pretty
yeah.
small, right?
Yeah,
and
you're right.
it's building your brand, right? So
Yeah.
it's good investment in your brand.
Yes.
It's telling the story
And the
of
skill set
yes.
that I'm learning here
and
too.
of who you are, right?
Yes. At the end of the day, it's not so much all the brands,
Right.
business that I built. It's like, who did I build myself into? And this is
Right.
a
Right.
rocket fuel for self-growth. having a business and a podcast.
I
Both
agree.
are just like, holy cow, it is throw yourself into the fire.
Agree.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Cool. Where would you say the top 3 places founders fail?
Lack of resources. It could be human resources. It could be financial resources. Not being in a curious learning mode enough, kind of being overly sure of their idea, their thing, and not doing enough really just understanding the landscape that they're entering. Not assuming that the thing they're doing is the best thing that's ever been done and nobody's ever done it before, because probably someone has, and learning from that why did it fail? Why didn't this work for someone before? And learning that, like really digging in, understanding the landscape. Creating a beverage, for instance, there's lots of data and research about beverages and how many of them fail and why. And so, yeah, getting smart about what you're trying to do is really important. Being strategic about that, I think.
Yeah, not just having rose-colored glasses and being like, I'll just work hard or work at any level and it's just going to work out.
It's going to work out. Yeah,
Yeah.
hope, as I said, drives the
Yeah.
industry, right? Yeah, and just not knowing that it is going to cost you money and time and stress, and just go in with your eyes wide open and your ears and your wallet. You just can't pretend that you're going to make it work without resources available to you.
I'm going to go into a bit of a rapid fire
Go ahead.
here now.
Yeah,
Are things easier or harder for emerging brands today?
always hard. Not harder, not easier. Always been hard.
What's the biggest risk to starting a natural products brand today?
It's a overly crowded field.
If you were to start a natural products business today, what would it be?
Me?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Why wouldn't you start a natural products business today?
I don't think I have anything new to add. It's all been done.
Yeah.
And I don't see any, there's probably still some white space out there. I met a guy in Bend, Oregon recently. I went out there. I was a pitch slam judge with them at their event. And I said, what do you do? And he said, well, I've created 7 businesses in the last 20 years, and sold all of them. I said,
Whoa.
what's the most recent one? And he said, shoe polish. I said, oh, okay. And he goes, yeah, there wasn't a natural shoe polish out there, and I created one.
Wow.
They're filled with chemicals, and the people that shine your shoes or work in shoe repair stores they're exposed to toxic chemicals.
Oh my gosh.
There you
job.
go. So if that happens, like if lightning strikes and you go, there's a white space there. Oh, I think I could do something there. Yeah, if you have that kind of gumption, that kind of desire to do something like that, look for that. That's what I would do if I were going to start a business. I'd like search and search and search for some white space, some empty hole somewhere that nobody's done yet. But it's really hard to find. Really hard.
What's the biggest misconception founders have about marketing?
That it shouldn't cost as much as it does. There's always it costs way more than they think it should most of the time.
So you've been a vegan for
About 18 years.
18 years. In 2021, you helped to sell a goat cheese company.
I did, yeah.
What was it like running?
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Did I try the goat cheese? Absolutely. I'm not that. I'm not rabid about that. But when the board asked me to come in and run the company, I said, well, I don't eat cheese, and they said that's okay. You don't have to eat the cheese to represent the company. So, yeah, it was interesting. I would have rather worked for like Miyoko's, but she didn't chase me down. So, again, as you're building a career, you kind of like land in these places sometimes where you go like, well, this is really odd, but I'm here. I'm going to do the best job I can do. Yeah.
Yeah. What inspires you to be a vegan for 18 years?
I would credit my daughter. And when I turned 50, I was having some cholesterol. My cholesterol was going up. And I had a pretty clean diet at that point, Stephen. I've lived a pretty healthy lifestyle here in Boulder. Been very fortunate.
Yeah, you've always seemed very healthy and vibrant to me.
Yeah, I'll be turned 69 this year. So,
Wouldn't have guessed.
yeah, she was a vegetarian. I was a vegetarian when I was a teenager back in the 60s or 70s. But I had gotten away from that and sort of lazy. We get lazy with our eating. But she turned me on this book, The China Study, and Colin Campbell wrote this book about this, the longest study of agrarian diets that had ever been conducted in China, and it compared agrarian diets to the diets of the Western world. In other words, diets of the affluent versus diets of the agrarian culture. People eating what they grew versus people buying processed foods. And health study, the Chinese government commissioned it. And then he was a researcher studying basically the effects of protein from animals, and then shifted over into plant-based proteins and studied the effects of plant-based proteins and wrote this great book. And it was revolutionary for me. Like when I read it, I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense to me. My doctor argued with me, you need to go on a statin drug. You should be on a statin drug. And I said, well, I think I can change it with my lifestyle. I can change my diet and try that. And she said no. And I said, well, what's the harm in trying? And so I tried it and my cholesterol went down.
That's very interesting. Why do you think the doctor was pushing so hard?
I'm just like 30% of the country's on statin drugs today. Is it
necessary though? My doctor just pushed statins on me, and it was completely unnecessary.
I mean, it did help. My diet did drive my cholesterol down, but it turns out that maybe that wasn't as big a problem as maybe having high blood pressure or other issues as you get older that sort of come around. You age, things wear out, and so. Combination of factors, lifestyle, diet, and your environment have a lot to do, I think, with how, and we're so super fortunate here in Boulder and in Colorado in general. We live
just all the sun we get.
Oh, sun.
And access to nature.
And altitude is an interesting factor as well. The way we process oxygen differently at this altitude. But yes, I think, not abusing your body with alcohol, drugs, things like that, they just help.
Yeah. Vegetable oils, seed oils.
Anything you can do. Like just be smart about how you treat this body you're given, which you only have one of. So yes, I would say my daughter turning me on to that. She's a healthcare professional. She's a CRNA down in Denver. She was a nurse at the time. So yes, these things it's great when your kid can introduce you to something that she knows you're struggling with, and a lot of pressure in your 40s. It's a tough time. You're learning, growing, financial pressure. You're running a business. I don't know how old you are, but
39.
There you go, pal.
40 in January.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're 40s, and it's like, wow, I better really get on it here and figure out what I'm doing and how am I going to live the next 40 years and what's that going to look like and how do I want to treat myself and how do I make money and those things just raising a family, they just all come into play right away. You don't have a family that I know of.
No, but I would say in the next 2 years I will.
Awesome. Good for you, man.
Thank you.
The best thing we've done, my wife and I, together.
Yeah. Maybe close it on that. Tell me more about what raising a family has been like for you.
Been wonderful. Like I did not have a great relationship with my dad. I had a mom who cared a lot, but I grew up in the 50s and 60s. There was they didn't hover over us. We went out and rode bikes until 6 o'clock at night and came home all bruised and battered, and they had no idea where we were. And so we were not the helicopter parent raising generation, but we were closely in tune with our children, and we have a great relationship with them now. My wife and I joke about it, like they seem to actually like us, which is kind of cool. So yeah, we get to see them. They both live in the Denver area, which is wonderful, and we have a grandson now, so that's really cool too. Wow. Yeah, it's great to see them mature and go into their lives and do what they're going to do. Yeah. It's really a wonderful thing. It makes you feel really like, okay, we did okay. Yeah, and we still want to do okay. We still want to keep doing okay. Yeah. It's hard as you get older. You just things start breaking. I had a knee replaced a couple years ago. That was weird, but here I am.
Well, you seem good.
Looking like I'm 50 still, right?
You're crushing it. You're crushing it. You're doing great.
Dude.
Thank you for the time.
That's funny, yeah.
Where can people learn more about you and find you? And
you can find me on LinkedIn platforms, on Facebook, which I'm mostly a lurker, but not a poster. Play music in some bands. You'll see me around town. I hope to be at Expo West this year and might find myself in some sort of, we'll see, speaking. Who knows? Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I seem to, keep things in play a little bit. It's just enough. I don't want to do too much.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been great. Yeah, thanks, Stephen. And I just wish you the best of luck with Micro. I just think it's a cool concept. Always did.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Anything else you want to share or ask?
No, I think that's good, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
See you, everybody.